Chairman, turn on your mic, please. Yeah, thanks.
The purpose of these meetings is to hear information from the staff, applicants, and citizens, and then make recommendations to the City Council. For each agenda item, staff will first present the items. The committee and elected officials will have a chance to ask questions, and then the public will have an opportunity to make a statement. Any action taken tonight in committee meetings will be advisory only and will appear as a recommendation at the City Council meeting, in which the entire City Council will have an opportunity to vote on the matter. We want to hear what everyone has to say, but ask that the rules of procedure are followed. Anyone who wishes to speak must step up to the microphone up here in front. You will have up to 5 minutes to make your statement. Please direct your comments to the committee on the dais and not to individual members of the committee, the staff, or anyone else in attendance. Public comment is an opportunity to hear from you. The intent is not a back and forth question and answer period. So with that, roll call.
Chair Albrecht.
Here.
Mr. Mylart.
Here.
Ms. Foney.
Here.
Mr. Hudson.
Here.
Mr. Blackburn.
Here.
Sir, we have a quorum.
Okay. Next thing is the approval of minutes from our last meeting, which was March 10th. March 10th. You need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is items requiring City Council action. There's one. Andrew, go ahead.
Yep. So there'll be several of these tonight. The first one is a resolution for our lawn service for the next 3 years, and also the mowing contract, and then the landscaping contract for the next 3 years. So on our agenda, the Parks and Environment agenda today, they're both listed under item 2.1. However, we will have to vote on each resolution, so there'll actually be 2 votes on item 2.1 tonight, one for landscaping, one for mowing, and then next week on the City Council agenda, you'll see it as well. But we did go out to bid on March 17th for both of these contracts. There was multiple bidders for each one, and the 3-year contract for landscaping is just a little over $188,000, and the mowing is $2,618 per mowing cycle. So every time they mow all 52 sites, we'll get charged that amount. So it's not only $2,600, it's $2,618 per mowing cycle, depending on how many times they mow throughout the year. Okay, like I said, this is a normal contract. We do this every 3 years, so this is something you'll see, obviously, in the years to come as well. So any questions on either one of those 2 contracts?
Okay. I hear a motion to move it forward.
So we'll need 2 motions, one for the landscaping and then a second motion,
Okay.
another motion for the other one. Yep.
We can. First one is the landscaping.
Yep.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Council?
Okay, Chair Albrecht?
Wait.
Hold up. Oh, I'm sorry.
I couldn't tell based on what you just said, this is new, or we've had this before?
We do it every 3 years. So the term ended last December, so we went out to bid in March, and so this is for 3 years. So it's a 3-year contract.
Does this include landscaping like out front here that we used to do internally? Or
Yes.
Focal Point? This will replace Focal Point?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Focal Point was one of the bidders. They were not the low bidder.
Okay.
So I think there's 13 different sites, everything from the roundabouts to out here to the landscaping beds at the fire stations, the public safety, the libraries, IT, the city service, city sites. So 13 sites. And this includes, some sites include planting, some sites include just bed maintenance, mulching. There's an entire list that they have to do for each site. And every site is different. Some sites we're not going to do flowers, other sites we will do flowers. So it is a lot more than just showing up, and this also includes watering, so.
Okay, any other comments, public? Okay. We need a roll call on this one, right?
Yeah, Chair Albrecht,
Here, yes.
Mr. Mylart,
Yes.
Ms. Foney,
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Blackburn?
Yes.
Okay, that one passes, and the next one is for lawn mowing.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Russ?
So I know it's for the cycle that amount was for the cycle of all of them, but weather usually happens, and sometimes 1 or 2 or 10 might get this week or this quarter or whatever the cycle is. Do we keep track of when, I know there's a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's 52 sites, and there's a dollar amount attached to each site. So if we determine one site doesn't need it versus the other one does, then that amount will just be subtracted or added from the contract.
Thank you, that was my question.
Yep.
Any other questions? Comments?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I see on here there's the 410 East Washington. When that'll be just this year. So this contract's for how many years? For,
It's 3 years, yeah.
but if that's the next Habitat House, would that just come off?
There's constant up
Okay.
and down to this contract, so there'll be sites added periodically for whatever reason. Code enforcement might say, city's gonna mow this, back charge, put a lien on the property, and then we ended up adding that. So it's a constant up and down movement of this contract based on need.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, all those in favor? We'll need a,
Yep.
Roll call.
Chair Albrecht,
yep,
Mr. Mylart,
Yes.
Ms. Foney?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Blackburn?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
just for kicks, how many people responded to the RFP?
I think there was 3 or 4 on each of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Item 2.2,
The next one is for the, I forget one. Okay, so this 2.2 is a resolution for the engineering for the new parking lot at the sports park, as well as the lighting of the new parking lot and the lighting of the new parking lot. So this is an FY26 item, hasn't been fully approved in the budget yet. Of course, there's one more vote before the next budget is approved, but we wanted the engineers to kind of get going on it, or at least have a sense that this is going to get approved, because the sooner we can get the engineering going, the sooner we can get the bid done, and it is our hope that we can get this done before the fall soccer season kicks off. So we have a lot of engineering work, bidding and all of those things. So we're really just kind of getting a jump on this, but it is an FY26 budgeted item. You will not see an invoice in FY25, so this is all for FY26. But it is the engineering for the new parking lot, Phase 2, at the sports park, as well as lighting for both of those parking lots.
okay, this is the one that's funded out of the O'Fallon Trust Fund thing, right?
You are correct.
Okay, anybody? Comment? Need a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Okay, any comments? Committee? Council? Public? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Probably need a roll call vote.
Oh, roll call.
Yep, Chair Albrecht,
Yep,
Mr. Mylart,
Yes.
Ms. Foney,
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Blackburn.
Yes.
Okay.
okay, 2.3.
2.3, so this is another item that it's resurfacing the floor in the O'Fallon Station. It probably needed to be done last year, but there's some cracking in the floor, and we wanted to keep an eye on it for a year to make sure that the cracks didn't grow. But this is stripping off the current finish that's on the floor in the station, which is, just for lack of a better word, it's a gray paint that's since been peeled off from the various activities. So what we want to do is strip off all that paint and go with a clear, polished look in the station, much more durable. The look, we feel, would be more consistent with the nature and the architecture of the building. So yeah, they will do several coats of grinding that off to a just to get to the layer of the rock, so it makes it very coarse, and then they'll put this, let's say, for lack of a better word, polyurethane on it. I'm sorry, I don't know the lingo of what they call it, but essentially what they'll do is they'll put several coats on it to reduce the slipperiness of it. So our intent and our request was to make sure that, just like when you walk into Home Depot or Walmart and you see their polished concrete, that we had the same look. And so they did indicate that putting an additional layer of this coating on will make it less slip resistant. And we'll have to throw some air, probably some rugs down for those wet days, just like we normally would. But yes, so this is the resurfacing of it. This money was budgeted in the FY26 budget. However, it was coming out of contingency. And so since it was coming out of contingency next year, we're just gonna go ahead and use that contingency from this year, which is the reason why we're using the budget resolution here, to get this project done the last week of April, so we can get this project done and before the market opens in the second weekend in May. So that is the reason why we're pushing forward with doing this now versus waiting until next budget year. There were multiple bidders for this, or I'm sorry, there were multiple quotes for this. I think we got 4 total quotes from 4 different vendors, and this Desco was the lowest low bidder, or lowest quote. And this is the same flooring that we're doing with the new building at the park project. So they're, they did all the new restrooms and all of the other areas down there. So we feel comfortable with this contractor. We feel like they've done a good job with what we've seen. So with that said, any questions?
Okay, need a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, any comments, questions, committee? I have one. What was was there a warranty on the original floor?
We were trying to remember. I think that was done in 2019, and we couldn't find any information on the vendor nor any kind of warranty information on that as well.
I
So
mean, the crack's been fixed?
the cracks have not been fixed, but they will do some crack sealing on them to seal up so no more moisture gets in there. And then we'll just have to keep an eye on it to see that they don't get worse. If they do, then essentially what we'll have to do is probably bust out the entire section of concrete, replace it all, make sure that the surface underneath that concrete is stable, and then re-pour the floor. So we don't really want to do that. So
What kind of a warranty does this stuff have on it?
it's polished concrete, so there's not really much to warranty since it's just the concrete.
Anybody else? Council? Yeah.
Vernal Water Ward 3. In regards to your ceiling of that floor, you're not going to have a warranty on it, you said?
So they're just gonna grind the concrete down and then put a coating on it. It's like a clear finish, so.
You're grinding it down to it appears like terrazzo floors. So then you're going to put a sealer on that, right?
Correct.
And you're not going to warranty that?
I'll have to check. I don't know off the top of my head what that warranty is. I'm sure there's probably a year of workmanship at least, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, most of the time, it's like a 3-year warranty on
Right.
other projects I've been on before. I've just given you a little heads up. That's how they generally run, like a 3-year warranty on those, okay?
Sure.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, roll call?
Chair Albrecht.
Yep.
Mr. Mylard.
Yes.
Ms. Foney.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Blackburn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 3.1, construction update, pool, Katie Caven Center.
All right, well, we're just moving right along with the project, real nice. I know you can't see on my screen the tiny budget update, but that was included in your packet, so hopefully if you have any questions, you have that in front of you. And then you can see they're doing everything from pouring the surge tank is all poured, they're backfilling, they've got the whole area backfilled now around the pool. The siding is almost complete on the building. The Caven Center is having the floor installed this week. The basketball hoops are up, the curtains are up. Essentially that building, and they fired up the HVAC unit last week, so they're finalizing some door installs this week, and then they'll put on our access control, which is the entry method by how we get in. So that project is just about done. We're on to the site work now, lots and lots of site work. They're pouring the curbing for the parking lot this week. They've got almost all the interior curbs poured. And then, they still have a lot of rocking and asphalt work to do as well, but the outdoor restrooms are getting rehabbed. The Invent Plaza area is getting concrete, so lots and lots of activity going on at the park.
Okay, anybody have any questions on that one? Getting close to the end.
Yes, we're about a month away.
We want to talk about the timing on the pool.
I don't have a question, but I got a comment. I want to thank you for keeping us as informed as you have each step of the way.
Good.
It's been good.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking questions about it, so it is good that you guys have this information in front of you for sure.
Talk about the timing of the pool opening.
Yep, the timing of the pool opening is, it really appears, or it's tracking well that we're going to get the leisure pool open and the slide open. Pending approval from the Illinois Department of Public Health, we have some requests out to them to fence off the lap lanes. So the lap lanes will be getting their coating, paint coatings. It's 28-day process for that. So while the paint is curing, we're hoping that they let us open up the leisure pool and the slide by Memorial Day weekend. So that would open on time. And then the lap lanes would open still on that June 18th timeframe. So fingers crossed we are able to open on time for the leisure and slide, but they're working left and right. They're working Saturdays, doing everything they can to get caught up. So we feel like they've been great partners trying to keep us to a schedule. So that is the update.
Okay, anybody else have any questions, comments?
Just a comment, I stopped by the other day to kind of take a look at what was going on. The Holland folks were great, and then they put a vest on me and a hard hat, glasses, and turned me loose. And,
Yeah.
so I don't know what the wisdom of that was, but it was following me around, so.
Yeah, they saw you coming from a mile away, so they let me know you were out there. So, all right, good.
So if any other council members would like to look around, we can schedule something, but it'd be helpful to contact Andrew first. And
I'll give you a personal tour. I know several of you have already reached out to me. So yeah, just let me know and we can get out there any day after 3:30.
Okay, anybody else? Public?
Vern Moore, Ward 3. I noticed in all the pics that you put out there for the pictures and everything for the swimming pool and that, but I noticed something was, caught my attention was that as far as the separation between your swimming pool floors and your vertical walls going up, I didn't notice any rubber membrane going into a channel where it would be in the bottom portion, and also when you poured the top wall, that would come down and cover that, and it would seal that off. Is there a reason why that was not done?
I would probably need to catch up with you after the meeting to get exactly what area you're talking about. I know that the site has got hundreds of drains all over the place, so when the water comes off the wall and hits the concrete, every single inch of it is sloped towards a drain, which is draining to either the detention basin or the appropriate places. So
This doesn't have to do with drainage, it has to do with the floor of your pools. Then you have, before you put the wall up, you have the reinforcing rod sticking up that they're gonna attach onto and add the other rebar when they pour the wall. Then you have like a 8 to 10 inch membrane that goes down in existing concrete on the floor and it's left a portion up in there, so when you tie the other wall into it, you don't have any penetration of the water seeping out in there. And I had never seen in any of the pictures of that membrane being installed. Just a question. If you could show me some pictures, that would solve my problems of making the assumption.
And I know that the pool is poured to a higher standard, so the pool itself is actually, so that concrete doesn't allow the water to seep through it. We did the higher grade on the concrete walls, so they are themselves watertight, and then when you put the coating on it, it gives an extra level of water tightness to it, so.
Okay, I just, if you
Yeah.
had any pictures showing me that membrane in there, I would like to see those. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Other business? 3.1.
Okay. Give me a second here. I think I'm going to pass this to Patrick so he can give you our monthly Placer AI. Our monthly Placer AI update. So Patrick, give me a second here to share this. Take it away.
All right. So yeah, just starting off, again, just some more data just pulling from Placer AI. If you don't remember, aren't familiar, Placer AI is they partner with companies that use your tracking on your mobile phones to just track usage and visitors at different sites around town. Again, they don't track children's phones or things like that, but one of their big companies they work with to get that data is like weather apps or Life 360, but that's how they pull a lot of this information throughout the time. So for this month, I just wanted to go through and kind of just show some other park usage. We hit on the sports park, which obviously is the huge draw on that end of town. We've hit on the market and the draw that has on Saturdays, but just to see some of the visits and trends that we have in our other parks in town that people may not always think about. So just some raw data here with like Community Park. And this is all for the calendar year of 2024. So Community Park would not reflect, of course, because we didn't have City Fest there, so there's no City Fest numbers factored in. And then because it doesn't track children, it probably doesn't really do a good job of factoring in all of our summer camp kids that would be there every day. So I would anticipate that our Community Park numbers are probably quite a bit higher than that, because you have to be at a site for, I set the settings as 15 minutes, so number of visits. So you got Rock Springs Rotary Park. 2024, we had over 91,000 visits out at that park. So obviously lots of trail usage, the dog park, just seeing how many hours we really had spent at all these parks. Hesse, Hesse's, we have our pickleball courts, which have a huge draw within the area. And if you go out there, we started baseball and softball practices this last week. So every field is going pretty much Monday through Friday from 6 to about 9 o'clock with our youth baseball and softball programs. On top of adding the basketball courts at that park and the few pavilions we have. So Hesse's numbers, I'd be curious, I need to go back to before we had pickleball and some of the modifications we made to that park to see what the usage was just even a few years ago, but I feel like that number's probably really dramatically increased over the last 5 or so years from all the renovations we've made out there. And just some of the smaller neighborhood parks that we have in town, just having some of that usage. So obviously Savannah Hills Park, so that's out in the Savannah Hills subdivision. That's a really, as you see, really popular neighborhood park. We have a pavilion out there, but we only rent it to residents because they have access to the restrooms at the clubhouse that's there. But we don't do a bunch of rentals out there, pavilions or things like that. But as you can see, that park does get used quite a bit compared to some of the smaller ones in town, such as Toman. A lot of people, when they come in to rent pavilions from us, they want the sports park. We tell them it's already booked. We tell them about Toman. A lot of people have never heard of Toman Park, which blows their minds, but it's a great little park, great pavilion, great playground. So people, when we send people there, they come back year after year because they realize it's nice, it's quiet. You don't have the hustle and bustle of the sports park, so you can go to Toman Park and get tons of kids out there and use that playground, use the field for all kinds of activities. And with Ogles Creek Park, the numbers on this one, I'd be the most skeptical of because I had to, basically in our Placer AI system, the company can go through and make all of our parks, all of our facilities as a unit to track. They call it a POI. Ogles Creek, just with how that park is situated back in the neighborhood, I had to kind of just hodgepodge it together myself. So there's not a lot of parking at Ogles Creek. There's really just a pavilion down there. So as you can see, that usage is dramatically lower than a lot of our other facilities. And then while they're not our parks, the Shiloh Community Park and Three Springs Park, we spend a ton of time out there with our youth sports programs for baseball, softball, and soccer. If you, like I said, if you go by Three Springs right now, it's the same thing. We've got games going out at Three Springs, and they'll be going until 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night with all of our soccer kids. But you can see the visits there to Three Springs and Community Park, both very well used. Three Springs, like I said, we use a ton for soccer and Community Park. Mike, our baseball supervisor right now, he's got all those fields going just the same as everything here in town with our youth baseball and softball program, and we'll be out there every night basically through mid-June with baseball and softball at those parks. So while they're not our parks, we do heavily utilize those for a lot of the programming we do, and couldn't offer a lot of the sports that we do without having that space. So just to kind of recap, just a kind of a comparison here for, as you can see, for 2024, just the total usage and visits to our parks with and without the sports park. So it really kind of shows the impact the sports park does have on our operations and what we can offer just with the sheer number of visitors compared to our other parks in town. As you can see, without the sports park, we still had 217,000 unique visitors to our park. So that's everybody coming for anything, which really is kind of mind-boggling when you think about just, you think most of the rest of our parks in town would just be O'Fallon people, but it's really not. With these kind of numbers coming out to town to come for games or activities or come to the pool or whatever it might be, just how many different people really come to O'Fallon for the parks. And that's basically most of that. And then just a good frame of reference for Community Park here, because everybody knows how busy the sports park is. When I did that report, we're the #1 park outside of like Forest Park in the St. Louis area. But even Community Park, it is the 3rd busiest park within 15 miles, so it's only behind the sports park and then Plummer Park in Edwardsville. And I would assume with all the renovations we're making, adding concerts and those kinds of things, the new community center, that Community Park is going to see significant increase in the future with all the traffic we're going to have. And I just put in comparisons within up to 50 miles. We're still top 15. Community Park alone is in the top 15 within 50 miles. And again, this doesn't have any City Fest numbers in it. It doesn't have a highly accurate count for our summer camp kids, but this is just general parents coming out to our park. So it's just good data to look at. I can spend hours in Placer.ai just looking at different stuff, but that's just kind of a good comparison for how busy the rest of our parks are and what we'd have without having the sports park going on in town.
Any comments?
Have we looked at a restroom facility out at Savannah Hills Park?
We've never really looked at that too heavily, mostly because I know the residents out there have access to a restroom. It's not something we can't look at. I know we've talked about it in the past, and there are a lot of kids out there by virtue of this. And they don't all take the restroom key with them when they go out to play in the park. But it's certainly something we can probably put on the CIP and then to have future discussion as it comes forward.
I had a resident reach out to me recently, and I didn't agree with them when they asked for it. And then I was walking the other day and see somebody coming out from behind some bushes. I'm pretty sure they weren't an arborist, so I kind of know what they were doing. So I didn't agree with them until I saw the numbers, and then I saw that stuff myself. So I would hope we would fit that in somehow in the long run. So.
In a lot of our other parks, Tolman's got a tiny little restroom. Hesse certainly has a restroom. So there's other parks that we put restrooms as well. I also, when it comes to placing restrooms, you have Barron Street, which we have a lot of youth athletics out there, which is only growing there, and then the community garden. So I think those are the 3 places that we're highlighting future restroom growth or needs. So as we tick them off, they would probably tick off in those 3 would be the next 3 locations. To get restroom facilities.
All right, well, thank you. I know I shifted on you from the last time we talked, so.
Good. Yeah, absolutely fine. Okay.
Any other comments?
Yep.
Jessica?
With the Ogles Creek Trail going in, will that bisect that park, or how will that interact with that park right there?
Yeah, it's great. It's going to come right down the middle, kind of hug the side of the trail there and come all the way down. So, yeah, those people in the reserves of Timber Ridge will be able to come down and get onto the sidewalk by Milburn School.
Knowing that that'll likely increase traffic, are there any plans then to do any improvements at Ogles Creek? It's so small now, I realize that it wasn't an issue, but
I think we're going to have to do something. I think a lot of people are going to want to park someplace and get on that trail, especially if it goes south someday and eventually matches up with the sports park. I think we're going to want to be somewhat thoughtful on parking in that area. So it will be something we're going to have to study over the next couple of years for sure.
Anybody else? Okay, item number 4, is any additional public comments? Okay, not hearing any, then need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Do it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. How'd I do? Not bad.
Thank you for leading us as always. Wear goggles and like, you have goggles on? No. They're like, really? No, I'm just gonna get here and backstroke it.
Yeah.
I was just doing this and everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
Ready? All right, we're going to call the community development meeting to order at 6:05. Roll call, please. Albrecht.
Here.
Parchman.
Here.
Campbell. Here. Force. Here. Small here. Roach. Here. All right. First up, 1.3, approval of minutes for March 24th.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes approved.
All right, 2.1 through 2.7 are all regarding the Park Place, and there's no changes. Looks like you have some information up there.
That is correct. So these are all the ordinances that will be on second reading next Monday's council meeting. And so how we typically do these large projects, because they have ordinances and resolutions. The resolutions were not read at the council meeting last Monday. They're kind of delayed to go all at one time with the second read of the ordinances. But circling back to these are the second readings of ordinances related to Park Place with no changes. The next slide are the long list of all the ordinances, and at the bottom are the 2 resolutions. And additionally, at the very top, there will be a public hearing prior at the beginning of the city council meeting for the annexation of 80.19 acres. And so again, nothing's changed. These have all been reviewed at the previous Community Development Committee meeting, and the ordinances have been approved at the first reading at council meeting. But if there are any questions or comments tonight, Greg and I and Walter are available to answer those.
All right, thank you. So any questions from the committee? Council?
So these are just a couple things just to reiterate to some of the residents. First off, the number 7 that was added, which is the sound analysis. Could you just go over that one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we have started working with SCI. So there's a condition on the plan use approval for Park Place, mainly as a result of the concerns from Park Bridge Station, the subdivision to the south side of the Golf Entertainment Complex, about sound impacts. So we initiated a evaluation with SCI. Well, they will be going out, conducting sound analysis prior to construction at the property lines. And then after the golf complex is built, 6 months later, in the kind of the same conditions, they'll do another analysis. And if the sound, you get rid of all the ambient noises, traffic, they'll try to, they'll have a study with the sports park busy, a study without it busy. They'll do a bunch of different times of evaluation. And if the sound is increased substantially, then we'll work with the developers post-construction to increase the berms or other buffering to bring the sound impact back below.
And will all those results be available or made available, to show what the difference was?
Yes, it would, yeah. These are all public studies, so they would be, yeah.
And then as far as the lighting, some of the stuff, I think there's a little bit of confusion with if it's going to be pole lighting, if it's on the building. Especially with houses on Bailey, they're worried about the Ameren light situation.
Sure.
Can you speak to what type of lighting?
Yeah, absolutely. So the architects reached out to us at the courtesy of the developers, which are here tonight, Mr. Gorez and Pat DeSicchio. And so as it's being modeled after Tower T in St. Louis, which is much smaller, it is not a Topgolf. And so that particular complex has lighting on the facility that actually houses the bays, and it extends out into the driving range area. And then additionally, it fades out as you go further. Now, the Tower T is roughly 200 yards, if you can. 265 is the depth of the range. And so as that's designed, that the candle wattage is down to 0 by the time it reaches the ends of that range. The range in O'Fallon that's proposed is over 300 yards. Additionally, any lights that would be on the structured towers, the actual net holders, would be facing inward, so there'd be no light pollution to the external factors.
So there will be lights on both, but the towers will be facing back at the facility.
That's what we believe. Again, we haven't seen construction plans yet. When construction plans are submitted to the city, all the city codes still would apply on any type of light pollution where there cannot be light spillage over a candle watt over that property line. So they will support, that analysis will be supported by a photometric plan that will be reviewed by city staff.
And then the last, question I have is as far as the study, the traffic study, there's a lot of concern that some of it will be completely fixed by this. A lot will be made better, but specifically the northbound turn lane from frontage to Vinita.
Mhm.
But after talking to Jeff the other day he gave up a very good chunk of time to speak to me about that. It's a multi-step process. Like, that really is going to be something that's really just going to have to be.
Absolutely, and there's long-term planning that happens with or without this project. Looking at frontage road in the next 20, 40 years, we'll have multiple options, and those will all be brought back to council because there'll be a funding component for the long-term improvements of it, not particularly on this project, which a developer will have to do according to traffic study. But when we talk about widening the bridge at Veneta or rerouting a frontage road or Taylor Road perhaps, or other off-site traffic improvements that just by natural growth of O'Fallon would have to happen, those will be in many years to come in many phases and will all be brought back to the council when it's time for those.
Yeah, I'm super appreciative of Jeff already. I mean, he's really looking at the future.
Yes, and just so everyone's aware, Mr. Taylor, our city engineer, has reached out to the original designer of the Veneta overpass to already begin the discussions of options on whether it's widening the bridge on its current structure platform or additional lanes or different options. And again, there'll be a time and place where all those options come back with staff's recommendations or the question to council of how you would like to proceed.
I think that's it.
Yep, great, thank you.
Yeah, I just, last week in city council, I still had some kind of concerns, and mostly around traffic. But ever since we started this thing, I want to thank the city staff. I want to thank the city council members who have been as involved as they have. Everybody's had an opportunity, the residents have had an opportunity to share their opinions, whether they've, emailed or texted or taken the time to come to any of the number of meetings that we've had. I think that most people, if they're not for this, can't articulate something that hasn't been asked and answered or addressed by the developers, other than really, I just don't like it. And there's going to be those people, the vast majority of the people that are taking the time to talk to me are for this. And so in my hesitancy over, and I've talked since the beginning about my feelings about the traffic and drainage and other issues, everything I've brought up has been asked and answered or addressed by the developers. So I just want to thank the city staff, thank the other council members, and thank the residents who have been as involved as they have to make this. Is it going to be perfect? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But almost everybody who has had a concern that is voiced it has been addressed. And so I'm appreciative.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
I just wanted to verbally clarify the height of the poles was not 1,700. That was what you said on
Yeah, so the confusion, and this was addressed at the committee meeting 2 weeks ago, there's a map showing distance from the street to the north to the golf facility, and that's 1,500 feet. The golf poles themselves will be somewhere in between 50 and 125 feet in height, depending on, golf shots. We did look, 1,700 feet would be the tallest single pole in the world by threefold. 1,700 feet is taller than the Sears Tower, Willows Tower. So it will not be that tall, I
Okay,
promise.
I just wanted that to be verbalized. Thank you.
You can put a condition in if you want that it has to be under 1,700 feet. That's okay, we can do that.
1,689. All right, so any other comments or questions from the council? From the public? Yes, sir.
Ron Zelms, Ward 6. It kind of has to do with this. About, I'll say 6 years ago, whenever the Park Bridge development went in, there's about a 3 or 4 acre piece of land just south of where the golf was going to be that was supposed to be a restaurant or something going in there. Is this going to generate maybe something going in there now, or has there been any discussion of what the current owner of that, you need to know the plot of land I'm talking about, anything maybe that might go in there then or not?
So unfortunately, the original purchaser of that property, Mr. Denny Blumberg, passed away shortly thereafter, purchasing that property. And I know that his son took over the business and finished out the subdivision, and he continues to build houses in O'Fallon today. But for some reason or other, with Scott, he decided not to proceed with that. They still own the property, but he is focused on the residential side.
All right. Any other public comments, questions? All right, hearing none, we'll move on then to 2.8, special event permit request for Wakaka, I think I got that right, Margarita Bar and Grill, Cinco de Mayo.
Thank you. This is a special event permit request from Oaxaca Margarita Bar and Grill. They are looking to host a Cinco de Mayo event on May 2nd. That's a Friday through May 5th, a Monday. What they're looking to do, as indicated on the site plan, in the area that's shaded blue, they're looking to construct a tent and have a DJ from the hours of 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m., which does meet the city code of ordinances. Once the tent is constructed, it would need to be inspected by the Community Development Department for stability. They are anticipating a total of 50 to 80 patrons, including on their outdoor patio, which they will have set up for the Cinco de Mayo event. Once again, it's on May 2nd through May 5th, 2025, from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. as proposed. They would be required to get a special event liquor license for each day of the event.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
He had no idea.
Council? Public? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the committee? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Parchman?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Vorse?
Yes.
Roach?
Yes.
Albrecht?
All right, that'll go on to the council. Next up, 2.9, special event permit for Randy's Rescue Ranch Art and Craft Fair.
Thank you. The applicant is Randy's Rescue Ranch. They are looking to host a art and craft fair on May 24th and May 25th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Taking a look at the site plan that has been included, they're looking to do a 50-50 raffle, host a craft and art fair, have rescue merchandise for sale, hay rides around their pond, face painting, and food offerings. They would be required to collect sales tax remitted to IDOR for any item that would be sold as part of the arts and craft fair, and they will be required to collect a 1% food and beverage tax for the event, not including prepackaged foods. So that is May 24th, May 25th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Randy's Rescue Ranch.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
How many people are they expecting?
They are expecting between 200 to 400 attendees.
Mighty small place to park.
That was one of the concerns that we had. They said that they are looking to spread it out throughout the day. They don't think that they don't think that they would have attendees all at once, but it would be throughout the day. They also have indicated that they are hiring security, so they will have security that would help monitor traffic coming on and leaving the site.
Is this a fundraiser for them? Is it a fundraiser?
It is a fundraiser, but it also is there will be private vendors who will be selling their arts and craft products as well.
Raise a lot of money, because I know some people that wash 3 or 4 loads of dog bedding every day because their washing machine broke down.
Okay. Any others from committee? All right, Ross?
In the past, they've had events where they coordinated with the church to let people park, the church there at Seven Hills, and then shuttle people. If I'm not mistaken, I think they've done that in the past. That might be something we recommend that they look into if they need it. I don't know if they'll need it or not.
Absolutely, I can get in touch with them, and before we bring it back to council for approval, I can pass that by.
They don't have a whole lot of people at one time, and maybe they don't need to, but just a suggestion.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Public? All right. Hearing none, I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the committee? Roll call, please.
Campbell?
Yes.
Vorse?
Yes.
Roach?
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yep.
Parchman.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll send that on to the council. And last, public comments. Any additional public comments for the Community Development Committee?
I got one that didn't pertain to one of the other things we were
Sure.
discussing, so I waited. I was asked by a resident, in regards to Meyer specifically, but in general, speak, when we pass something for a development and it's 2 years, I know that there's a requirement for some things that need to come back to us, if there's changes or what, can you just touch on what causes something like Meyer to come back to? Do they need to, when would they need to, just kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Code of Ordinances states that any plan use is valid for 2 years unless they commence their design or construction. And so I will tell you right now with Meyer and GBT, which is Shops at Pierce, we've already got the IDS underway, the internal roadways are underway, and they've already remediated the mines. So they have commenced construction. So their plan use is vested at this point. There's another one that's called Hampton Manor, which is at the corner of Lincoln and Kyle. It was a assisted living kind of memory care unit, and so they were also another plan use. While they have not physically constructed, they completed all their civil plans and all their design work, so they are a vested plan use. Now, in the event that Meyer and Shops at Pierce got their plan use and they never remediated the mines, they never submitted paperwork, they never started the engineering process, then after 2 years, that plan use would expire. And they would have to come back to the council through the whole planning commission process as well.
So it's the steps to be vested, that that's where the
Correct.
thing is.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Any other additional public comments? Yes, sir.
Vermillion, Ward 3, since Ross has opened the door, I just want to ask another question in regards to the piece of property on the corner of Greenmount Road and Highway 50 across from CVS. There's the status of that piece of property being developed with the 5-story hotel going in there. Just want to know if you know the status on that.
So the question is about Spring Hill Suites, which is a proposed hotel at the corner of Highway 50 and Greenmount. So there was 2 homes there. They have cleaned them out this week. Demolition on those is expected to begin April 28th. And so they'll be tearing those down to begin the grading work. Their civil designs are approved through our process, but we're waiting the construction documents on that. But as a reminder, that's a Spring Hill Suites hotel owned by local developer Brad McMillan.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? All right, seeing none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
We have motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.